Welcome back to In Session. I'm Christy Paul. You know, Amanda Knox is free for the first time in 4 years this morning. An Italian jury overturned her murder conviction yesterday, and now the American student is on a plane, we understand, on her way home. She begged for her freedom, though, and then waited hours for the jury's decision. I want to get you back inside that courtroom there.
On behalf of the Italian people, the Assistant Court of Appeal in Perugia, after having examined Section 605 of the Criminal Procedure Code, it partially overturns the judgment of the 4 December 2009 in relation to Knox, Amanda, and Sollecito Raffaele that have appealed it. The prosecutor states Knox Amanda is guilty of calumny, defamation, with the exclusion of the aggravating circumstance in the criminal code, and with the aggravating circumstance of the Article 98. Is condemned to 3 years of custodial sentence. And they have the legal costs, and she has to pay legal costs to Patrick via Lumumba, 22,000 euro, 170, and to reimburse him for general expenses and accessories. They are acquitted of offense of charges A, B, C, D, and with regard to E, please, because the fact didn't happen, so we have overturned. So Knox Amanda is free, and Sollecito Raffaele as well. Please. Silence, please. Silence, please. We have 90 days to deliver the reasoning.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it, there to hear the cheers in the courtroom and how the judge had to admonish people and say, silence, silence. But look at, I believe, one of her lawyers there who is hugging her. Just cannot imagine what she must feel as she's walking out of that courtroom, hopefully for her, for the very last time. And we know now her first full day of freedom is being spent in the air, flying to London, we understand, then catching a plane back to Seattle. She's in the air right now, we understand. So she's going to have plenty of support when she gets back to her hometown.
4 years in the coming. It's been a torturous robbing of 2 innocent people's lives, but also Meredith lost her life. You know, it's just tragedy all the way around.
I just want to get her home. I want Amanda home with her family.
I want to bring in another attorney who's close to Amanda Knox's case. Jeffrey Steinberger is a criminal defense attorney who volunteered to work on her case. He joins us now from New York. So Jeffrey, thank you so much for being with us. I understand you worked in the initial stages of her case. Can you tell us what your commitment was?
Yes, Christy, that was, I volunteered to go over in the beginning when they started telling the facts of this case, and something just kind of irked me. I've been doing this for a long period of time, trial work. And after 25 years, I mean, I looked at this and the DNA was totally skewed on this case. It just didn't have the fact basis that seemed correct. And the verdict yesterday was absolutely astounding that they came back and they did this legitimate justice thing instead of having Mangione, the prosecutor who was after her for 4 years and wanted that sentence the way he wanted it and controverted the DNA evidence that was really totally done The sampling was done okay. The sampling was taken okay, but the evaluation was so skewed and taken down to such levels that it was totally unreliable.
Why were
It was amazing. It was an astounding verdict.
Yeah, well, why were prosecutors so convinced that there had to be more than one person involved in this, and why focus so intently on Amanda Knox and her boyfriend?
Well, you know, there was a relationship there. We still don't know what that relationship was. You know, it was casual. It was, they knew this other guy that actually had the DNA that was all over the weapons, and that was really clearly at higher levels the actual DNA that was verifiable and substantial. What else went on? Nobody else knows, but the prosecutor, had this hunch. And, you know, in our American court system, hunches don't fly. And that's what irked everybody when they heard about this, because he wanted to stay with this hunch, this gut thing that he had in his belly, and he kept it in as a regular trial method, and as a way to prosecute something that, you know, he had his personal feelings. And that's not the way the prosecutors work here. That's not the way all over the, you know, legitimate prosecutors don't work on hunches, inklings, or anything that's flirtatious or arbitrary like that. You have to have clear, precipient, concrete evidence that shows beyond a reasonable doubt, or at least in the beginning stages, a possibility of a probability of a reasonable doubt that this woman committed that crime. And that wasn't there at all.
Okay, so since you volunteered on this, did you ever meet with Amanda Knox herself?
No, I contacted friends of Amanda Fox. I gave them all the advice that I needed to give them. The Italian counsel that was over there said that they would contact us if they needed us, that they wanted to do this alone, and they didn't think that probably an American presence wasn't going to help out as much. In fact, it may deter the finding of an innocent verdict. Okay,
so now we're hearing the prosecution does want to appeal this overturned, the fact that they overturned it. What do you think is the plausibility that's going to go anywhere?
Christy, you know, this is the crux of the problem. This is the guessing point right here. If they decide to go further with another appeal, you know, then you get probably another appellate jury, and you know, this could be a nightmare for this woman. This could be an absolute tragedy. As it stands now, it's a wonder, and it's great, and she's home. And then maybe the U.S. government will step in and look at the extradition treaties, and you know, it would be a shame if she had to go back and go through an appellate process and go through this whole thing again.
And that's my question. Do you think the U.S. would allow her to be extradited based on everything that you've been able? I mean, how does that whole process work? Does the U.S. get to look at the evidence and decide, okay, yeah, there's enough here, we can send her back? Or would they do what you did? You looked at it and you said, look, there's nothing here to support that she was involved in this murder.
No, Christy, you know, it would be simple to say that, and it would be nice to say, well, the U.S. gets to evaluate some other country's laws and evaluate what they think, but we don't get that discretion. What we get is we have an extradition treaty with most countries, and we have to follow the rules of those extradition treaties. Generally, the extradition treaties with most major countries eliminate anything that has to do with the death penalty. This is not a death penalty issue. This is a life imprisonment issue. And so if we have an extradition, which we do, we have an extradition treaty with Italy, there may be a possibility that she may have to go back.
How would you advise her
and
now
that's
that
a shame.
How would you advise her now that she's back in the States and there could be this appeal looming? Would you have any particular counsel for her?
I would, first of all, I would have her immediately get counsel here, immediately contact the State Department. I would have, look, there's one of the things that helped this verdict yesterday, and as you know, as much as people get media for getting involved into criminal trials and swaying it the wrong way, this probably swayed it the right way. And as much as she can keep up that fight to get into the media, to keep her name known, to keep the vitriol from getting out there from this one prosecutor, she should do that. And she should be doing that immediately as soon as she gets home. They don't have a long period of time to do this, by the way. This is not a, you know, I think they had, if I'm correct, I think they have maybe 5 days, 7 days to make a decision on the appeal. So these next 5 to 7 days, I think she could do whatever she can to keep her name in the press. I know they are asking for privacy on the fact of not bothering her and not during this time when she's thrilled about her verdict. But I think she has to keep going forward for another 5, 7 days and keep that media push, or keep that her name out there and saying that she didn't do it, and have the United States keep pressing that and contact as many legislators and as many people in Congress that she knows that can make a difference and speak on her behalf.
All righty. Thank you so much, Jeffrey Steinberger, for being with us. Good to talk to you today.
You're welcome, Christy. Thanks for having me.
Always.